Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to MUFC versus everybody. I am your host, Sean, and I'm super thankful for you guys stopping by this morning with our Manchester United news roundup. Obviously, like I said in my last video, summertime's a bit slow, at least until the transfer window really starts to kick off. And then where I'm from, in Michigan, summer hits, everybody kind of poofs, vamooses, and everybody's got a cottage or they know somebody who's got a cottage. Everybody goes up north. Summertime is a big vacation time in Michigan. So I've been back and forth, vacation back home for the last couple of weeks. Obviously, if you've been following along, I tore a ligament in my foot playing footy a few weeks back. So I wasn't unable to do stairs for a few weeks. So I wasn't able to put out any content because I just didn't trust myself trying to carry a computer up the stairs without help. So any case, probably going to be an every other day thing for now, but that's fine. I'm super glad. It also allows me to build up some stories and stuff, give you some longer videos. I know everybody likes the longer ones. So before we do kick off today, just don't forget to hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. If you are new, don't forget to leave a comment. If you're here in the live chat, leave a comment. I do reply to every comment, every live comment. And don't forget to go follow me on Twitter, MUFZ versus everybody. If you can get Twitter to work for you. I don't know what is going on. So I'm not a big social media guy and I haven't been on Twitter very long. Maybe you guys can help me. Is it normal for Twitter just to have all these bots that just basically put out porn like all day, every day? You type in like a hashtag MUFC to kind of see what people are talking about. And then I happen to block like 100 people because it's just porn. Like, what is going on with Twitter? Elon Musk, get it together, man. Forget about the truck. It's not going to happen. Focus on the, major social media platform that you purchased a few years ago. Maybe get that, crawling and then maybe walking before you start focusing on other things. But in any case, we are here and I want to start things off by just reminder to Adam Peters, you were the winner of the shirt giveaway. Remember, we did the giveaway for this pre-match top from this past season. It is brand new. So you did win, selected from the subscribers, and then Adam did get involved in the live chat the other day as well. So good on you. Want to get your details so we can get that out to you. You can reach me at unitedstatesofunited@gmail.com with your details. Again, that's unitedstatesofunited@gmail.com. Interesting fact, that was the original name of the channel before I changed it to MUFC versus everybody. I think that MUFC versus everybody does have a more united kind of feel to it. We do want to make Old Trafford a fortress. It is us against the world all the time. And so we'll fight anybody. We'll take on everybody. It's us, and then there's everyone else. And that's the way I look at it. That's the way I see it. And that's the way I embrace United. So in any case, Adam, get in touch and then get you the shirt out, man. If I don't hear from you, probably within the next week or so, I probably will do another quick little selection for somebody to win the shirt. So with that in mind, you guys do need to be subscribed. It helps if you are involved, so get involved. But if Adam doesn't get in touch with me, I will have to go to the next person on the list. So it helps to get involved, get subscribed. So moving on. The league fixtures for the 24-25 Premier League season were released this morning. I saw that first thing when I woke up. I've seen a lot of people celebrating already the fact that we only play 2 of the top 6 in the first couple months of the season. I think we play Liverpool at the end of August. Then we got Tottenham at the end of September, it looks like, and we don't play anyone else. If you count Chelsea, we play them in November. But I think on paper, some people would say pretty straightforward first few months. But you have to remember, Fulham turned us over, and they're our home opener this season. So we kick off the Premier League season at home to Fulham. And according to Opta, I read this earlier today too, that that makes United the first club in the history of the Premier League to start a league campaign at home for 8 consecutive seasons. So that's pretty cool, huh? Not that it helps. We did lose our first match in Ten Hag's first season. We don't we're not too great. Fulham turned us over last season. We play Liverpool, obviously. Crystal Palace did us dirty the last month or so of last season. I think that was the game that Bruno missed, I believe. Brentford have surprised us. Leicester have surprised us. We do travel to Ipswich at the end of November to take on Kieran McKenna and his newly promoted Ipswich side. We'll see how their first, few months in the new league fares. Will they struggle? I mean, you could say a lot of newly promoted teams do. I think didn't all the newly promoted teams last year get relegated? So it's a struggle to stay in the Premier League. It's a struggle to manage that long season, especially when you are a newly promoted side. You don't have the funds, the players, no offense, arguably aren't at the same level. So it's not uncommon. I think that for a lot of these newly promoted sides, just staying up, avoiding relegation your first season back is probably the goal. We saw that with Leicester way back when they got promoted. They struggled. They barely scraped by, and then the next season they won. So still waiting for somebody to make a movie about that, call it, Foxes or 5,000 to 1 or something. But I think we're all still waiting for that. So in any case, Premier League fixtures have been released. Got a big match at home against Liverpool at the end of August. That could be really fun. Little birthday present for me if we manage to win that one. Ten Hag does have a decent record against Liverpool since he joined the league, but Liverpool no longer have Jurgen Klopp. Arne Slot is in. Could they get a new manager bounce to start the season? We will see how that goes. And I think now the Europa League schedule hasn't been released yet. We know the dates of the Europa League. I'm looking at the league stage matches, the fixtures anyway right now. There's 8 matches for that league stage, but we don't have the schedule until the qualifiers are done at the end of August, which is kind of a bummer. But I do think we have some Europa League matches right before we travel to Arsenal and City in December. So December could be a tricky month for us. Hopefully, because that is kind of hopefully. So that's about 5 matches into the Europa League's league stage. Hopefully we can get that kind of wrapped up by then, or at least looking good by then. Maybe we could rest a few key players before the Arsenal and the City match, because otherwise that's going to spread us thin if we don't really strengthen the squad this summer. But we'll see how that goes. Again, still a bit of a wait to figure out what the Europa League stage is going to look like. I'm trying to plan my trip, hopefully for end of September, October. So I have an idea-ish now what that could look like in terms of our home matches in the league, but I do need to wait till the end of August to figure out what Europa League matches are going, because I do like to maximize my time there and try to get in at least 2 matches if possible. So if anybody is traveling, you can feel my pain on that one, but let's move on here. So Ten Hag's been doing a bit of punditry work during the Euros. He was speaking with, I think he was on a Dutch outlet, a Dutch channel broadcaster for the England match the other day. And I think someone should probably tell Ten Hag to either avoid speaking on camera from now on, or he needs a very rigorous and thorough course in media training, because I don't have a problem with Ten Hag. I fully understand that English isn't his first language. He's a very blunt, literal. She's like Drax from Guardians of the Galaxy, if you'll let me nerd out for a second. It's who he reminds me of sometimes. I think sometimes the things he say, some people they can interpret it as being kind of brash or even mean, maybe, or rude, but I think it's just literal in the most literal sense of the term. But anyway, while he was doing this punditry with this Dutch outlet, you could tell speaking on camera is not one of his strengths. I do think with as far as some of his pressers, his pre and post match pressers over the last few seasons, I think that's again been a language thing. But he just doesn't tend to come off great when he's speaking in camera. He did reveal a few things during this during this England match, though, while he was speaking. So, and it's weird, we're watching Euros or watching, England, but he's getting asked questions about United. So it's just, again, never ignored, right? So he did reveal that United did, in fact, meet with Thomas Tuchel over the last several weeks. I don't necessarily see the issue with that. They didn't sign Ten Hag. They want to make sure that there are no other options in EOS before they move forward. I get that. It is still a little weird to me that they're meeting and having it's weird. It's just all weird. But like Ten Hag said, you don't do that in other leagues. Like the English league is very unique in that regard. But he also said they did kind of Ineos did show up while he was on vacation in Ibiza and basically told him, like, you were sticking with you. We like you. So good little gesture from them to come make sure they did that. He was also pretty honest about Rashford's performances last season. So obviously they were watching the England match, no Grealish, no Rashford. He said, his performance weren't at the levels. And so that's what happens. Now, some people are going to hear that, the Ten Hag out crowd, and say that he's being a bully. The Sancho fans will say he's being a bully. He's throwing Rashford under the bus. No one's throwing anybody under the bus. We've all sat here and watched Rashford and said he's not been up to it. We've all sat here and watched Rashford and said he's not been good. He's struggled. He's made his decision-making on and off the pitch have not been where they need to be this season. But the moment Ten Hag says it in public, it becomes, he's public enemy number one. And Ten Hag didn't even say anything like that. He just said it wasn't at the levels. And he said the same about Grealish as well. And so it is what it is. Grealish, I think, has been way worse than Rashford. Talk about a friggin' waste of money. £100 million release clause. Has had one decent season at City, his second season, which was still nowhere near what Rashford did. And then they still go out and buy Doku. I don't know. That Grealish is, to me, I don't know. My thoughts on Grealish have been well documented. I think that for a guy who, at City, supposedly one of the best wide midfielders in the league, cost $100 million to get outscored by Fred in his first season at City. That's embarrassing. As far as Ten Hag goes, anyone else feel like he's been a bit more just trying to think of the word brash, bold, maybe? I don't want to say arrogant because it doesn't strike me as arrogant. I don't think Ten Hag could ever come across as arrogant, but he's just like, it's like there's just no filter, no inhibitions anymore. It's like a guy who knows his job is secure, and at least maybe not his job is secure, because we saw this kind of in the FA Cup, like when Alan Shearer was spouting nonsense. Ten Hag is just, it's like he just stopped caring. It's like, you guys ever watch Parks and Rec when Leslie Knope loses the election and she shows up late the next day to work? She's got like sweatpants. She's got like a big cup of like soda. She's like not working. She doesn't care. She's just going to take a nap on the bench and stuff. It kind of reminds me of that, where to me, it strikes me as Ten Hag knows he's good. He knows he did a good job. He knows he had struggles. He knows that he could have done better than somehow, but he won the FA Cup, 3 finals in 2 seasons, 2 trophies. He knows like that whatever Ineos decide, that he's fine. He'll get a job. He knows that he did a good job, and he knows that he's a good manager. So that's what it kind of reminds me of. Not that he just like knows he's safe, not that he doesn't care, like he's lazy. He's just like, no, Ineos are going to do what they want to do. Like, I'm not going to let it impact me. I know I'm good at my job. I know that I've done a good job. Like, I'm fine. Because yes, Ten Hag could easily go to any other club. I think there was rumors that Bayern Munich were looking at him. Ten Hag could walk into a lot of other clubs. If he were sacked today, he would have a new job before the end of the summer. He'd probably have a new job before the transfer window kind of really ramps up. He'd have a new job before the Euros wraps up for sure. Whether that's a place like Dortmund, because Terzic just announced that he was going to be leaving. He could go anywhere really. And so I don't think Ten Hag is worried at all. So moving on to some player news. So Marcus Rashford has apparently gone to Dubai to do some individual training. Obviously, last season wasn't his best season compared to the 22-23 season. As we just spoke, the fan base, United fan base in particular, was very critical of him this past season. And Rashford has also been much more responsive to that criticism than I think we've ever seen him. He was obviously did that interview with the Players Tribune. He responded to a few things on social media this season. He had that run-in with one of the fans during one of the last few matches of the season, kind of doing that the pre-match warm-up, and then we saw the footage. There was that fan kind of on the touchline area, kind of said something, and Rashford responded to it with a bit of anger, irritation. So again, the fans have really, I think, been getting to Rashford. I don't think that it's a Ten Hag thing. I don't think it's a United thing. I don't think it's he's fallen out of love with football thing, as Rodney Marsh would have you believe. I think that he has the criticism of him has been very loud from the fan base, and I think that he is responding to it a little bit more now. Whether or not he's responding in the best way is up for debate, but I think that he's hearing it, and so I do think it's more of the fan criticism and the public kind of speculation and all that that's getting to him more so. Because what has Ten Hag done really? He's played him, he's held him to the same standards as everyone else when he was in Belfast and whatnot, but he's played him, he's supported him, he's done whatever. He's done the same he's done with everybody, you know? So I don't see how Ten Hag could be an issue in that regard. But he hasn't been selected for England this summer as a result of that dip in form. I think it's also probably better for him to take some time off to clear his head, take a breath, and prepare for the season, which it looks like he's doing. So it's good to see him kind of taking things seriously. Good to see him get back to work. Hopefully he can also find some balance in there to rest and relax and enjoy himself in Dubai, and not just, work, train. But it's good to see him focused and getting his head down. So hopefully he comes back next season strong and prepared and mentally ready for the season, no matter what happens. And hopefully we get him back to that 22-23 form, because that would only help us. Speaking of wingers, so we have been reading a ton of rumors over the last few months regarding wingers in Manchester United, specifically the right wing, specifically Michael Olise. But we do have a fresh report today that could shed some light on United's plans for the right wing, what that might say about our finances, our priorities this summer. Who knows? So this is coming from Samuel Luckers, so take it with a pinch of salt, because it is Samuel Luckers. But he has kind of claimed today that United see Amad Diallo as a key squad member for the upcoming season, for the immediate future, following his form sort of the second half of last season when he came back from injury and everything. And he was pretty key for us. I think Amad looks really good. He still looks a bit raw in some ways, because he's still pretty young. But I like Amad. I like him a lot. I think he's better than Anthony. I think he has looked better than Sancho when he's played. And I know a lot of fans were begging for Amad to get more minutes last season, and me included, myself included. Who can forget his winning counterattack goal to knock Liverpool out of the FA Cup? Pretty sure that made him a cult legend or club legend forever, just for knocking Liverpool out of the cup with that. And that bullcrap second yellow for taking off his shirt to celebrate. I'm still mad about that. That's such a dumb decision. But what are your thoughts on Amad? What are your thoughts on this potential update that he's going to be a key figure? Do you think we still need someone like Olise, or would Rashford, Garnacho, Amad, and perhaps like a younger signing for some rotation and depth, like a Desiree Doué or like a Soule? Would they be a better option? They'd be less expensive than Olise, probably, right? Now, obviously they wouldn't be as good, but it's a question of, do you think Garnacho will be ready to kind of start on the right wing after two seasons now as regular in the starting 11 in the Premier League? Does Garnacho look like he's ready for that step up? Does Amad look like he's ready? Do the two of them look like they can handle that? Plus, we still need someone else for depth. So would you take Olise and just really have a strong, wing, depth, or would you want to maybe get someone younger? Would you prioritize Olise and maybe, have to pull back a little bit in other positions that we might need, like defense, fullback, midfield, striker? We still have a lot of positions that we need. So I don't know if right wing would be my top priority, at least funds, but I wouldn't say no to Elise. I just don't think he's a priority. I know Adam Peters, the winner of the shirt, did pop up with that live chat a few days ago, saying he'd like us to stick with Ahmad and prioritize him. I'm sure he's not alone in that. So let me know your thoughts. Don't forget to like and subscribe. If you are new, don't forget to like the video. So could be interesting to see what happens with the right wing. I know Chelsea are heavily linked with Elise. I know Elise is a United fan. He wants United. Personal terms reportedly have been agreed. It's just a matter of price and our priorities. So we'll keep an eye on that one. Let me get another drink of coffee here. New contract for Johnny Evans. So this is coming from Sports Pedo. Evans and United have agreed on a 1-year extension, it sounds like. I don't have a problem with that necessarily. I've seen some people raging that we let Varane walk for free and we're extending Johnny Evans' contract. Remember, Johnny Evans was a free signing. He's probably on like a tenth of what Varane was being paid per week. And so you have to look at it from a financial standpoint as well, because that's the way Ineos are going to be looking at it. Evans has been superb whenever he's played for us this last season. I can't get out of my head his beautiful assist for Bruno, for Bruno's volley against Burnley. And Evans has experience. He's a United player through and through, and he's got leadership, and he can do a job, and there's nothing wrong with extending that. The issue, my only issue is it does make me think we're only going to sign one center back this summer, which is why I think we're pushing so hard for Branthwaite. I think despite what people will have you believe that we're bringing in 2 center backs, I think that we are signing 1 center back, and we have a tier of options. It sounds like Branthwaite is our first choice, and then like Yoro, and then Todibo. And I think we're going to get one of those, and we're going to have, Martinez, Kambwala, Evans, and I think one of Maguire and Lindelof are going to be sticking around, because we're not going to be able to sell both Maguire and Lindelof. I think that we're pushing the budget to sign Branthwaite. Obviously, there's rumors. Are we going to come back for another bid for Branthwaite? Are we going to, because Everton are holding out for a lot of money. But I think we're signing just one. One of Lindelof or Maguire are going to go. Obviously, we did report the other day that Fenerbahce were interested in putting in a bid for Lindelof. Obviously, Jose Mourinho is Fenerbahce's new manager. He's the one who brought Lindelof to United. He's a fan of Lindelof. The report claims Lindelof is excited at the idea of working with Mourinho again. Lindelof's only 29. Still got 3 or 4 years of playing at that level. So I think that Lindelof, if I had to choose, I would probably sell Lindelof before Maguire, because I think Maguire is actually a pretty decent center back. Obviously, I would sell them both if we got good offers. The problem is the wages. So that's why we couldn't sell Maguire last summer when West Ham came calling, because we pay him too much. But we're not in Champions League anymore, so that could help. So again, it leaves us with a couple options here. So again, this is why I don't think we're going to be signing a ton of players. Sticking with Ahmad, sticking with Johnny Evans. I don't think that I think we're going to bring in 3 players for sure: striker, center back, and I think a midfielder are for sure coming in. Obviously, we're pushing hard for Neves, and I think we could push that to 4 or 5 players. But I think that those extra couple players are going to be like young rotation options, loans, or something like we make Amrabat permanent. So we bring in like a Neves, Casemiro, and Eriksen go, but we sign Amrabat permanently, and then we've got Amrabat, Mount, Mainu, João Neves, and McTominay in midfield, and then maybe we look at someone like Collier coming in as a rotation option as well. I think that's what we're going to do. And then I think we could see somebody like maybe even Kambwala go out on loan. It's just going to depend. I think there are cheap options out there. I think we could do it, but I think that we just don't have the funds. So we'll see what happens. We could see one player going out the door already, though, and that is Facundo Pellistri. So journalist Sebas Giovanelli is reporting that Flamengo are actually interested in Pellistri. Remember, Ali signed Pellistri what was that, like 4 years ago we signed Pellistri. I think that was around the same time we signed Ahmad. And Pellistri he's looked decent. He's just never looked like that level that we need. At least for the like United or a club really trying to challenge for titles. What I do like about Pellistri is his first thought as a winger is to get forward, get up the pitch, and put the ball in the box, no matter what that looks like. He's been out on loan a couple times. I think he's at Granada. He's at Deportivo Alaves. And it seems like he's better suited to Spanish football. And I think that if you remember, the thing that killed Pellistri's United career, for me anyway, is the same kind of thing like what a lot of people gave up on Paul Pogba was agents spouting off their mouth to the media. So remember, I can't remember if it was this past season or the season before, Pellistri's agent basically made some comments around the middle of the season, around December, January, that he wanted to leave United. I think he made comments this past season that, it'd be hard to come back to United if Ten Hag was still there. I think this is obviously agents have their client's best interest in mind, and his best interest is probably leaving United, and it's not Ten Hag's fault. Ten Hag didn't sign him, and if Ten Hag doesn't rate him, or if he's not the profile player Ten Hag wants, and there's nothing wrong with not playing him. But when his agent made those comments, that's kind of when I was like, all right, well, it was fun while it lasted. You can go now. So if we can get some money from him, if he can go to Flamengo, could be good. Obviously, Andreas Pereira spent some time at Flamengo, and it did wonders for him. Now he's at Fulham, and he's doing bits. Pellistri just never looked like he could hang. And that's not me dissing Pellistri, like picking him out. Like, I don't think Antony could do it. I don't think Sancho can hang in the Premier League. It's not for everybody. And so we'll see what happens. But it'd be nice to get a little bit of money from him. Probably not going to be getting a whole lot, probably like 5, 6, 7 million maybe, if that. But it's better for him to go and play and get some minutes and stop going out on loan and loan and loan over and over again. So moving on to some signings. So the first signing of the summer is complete. United have made a signing. So we have signed 16-year-old right back James Overy. He's born in Australia. He plays for Perth Glory in Australia. He's a young right back. He's been compared to Spurs' Pedro Porro. Got a lot of fight, got a lot of energy, a lot of drive, motivation, and he's very attack-minded. And I know that Ten Hag likes that in a fullback. Obviously, he's super young. He will be integrated into the under-18s to start, with a plan, obviously, to get him into the first team probably in the next couple of years, see how he goes. But that's good. One little signing wrapped up, planning for the future. We've been linked to a lot of young players in the last few months. I think Ineos are really pushing hard to uncover those kind of young future stars, those hidden gems, those starlets. And so I don't have a problem with that, but we do need to strengthen the first team as well. So we got our first signing done for the summer. So that's good news. Some Branthwaite updates. So after United's opening bid for Jared Branthwaite was rejected, we're apparently right now kind of deliberating whether or not we want to go back for a second bid in our pursuit of the defender. This is coming from Sky Sports. So Everton are digging in their heels, and it sounds like we are ready to walk away from Branthwaite if a deal cannot be done for a price that we think is fair. I know Everton are holding out for like that 75, 80 million. I think our first bid was like 35 or something. I think if we get a bid in that is like 40, jumping to like 50, 55 with add-ons, I think we could probably make something happen. Everton need to be a little bit realistic. Obviously, they don't have to. It's their player. They don't need to sell. But at the same time, I like that we're prepared to walk away. I don't want this to be another Wan-Bissaka, Harry Maguire, Sancho, Antony kind of situation where we're not prepared to walk away. People like to use Antony's price tag as a stick to beat Ten Hag with, and I'm sick and tired of having to repeat myself. Ten Hag doesn't decide the transfer fees. He doesn't decide the wages. Ten Hag didn't say go sign an 85 million pound player. Ten Hag said in June, I want Antony. Antony was 35 million pounds. It quoted, we drug our heels. We figured, okay, we can take our time. It's fine. The player wants to come here. Waited till August after this season had already started to go back to Ajax. And Ajax said, no, he's 85 million pounds now. So we had to tell Ten Hag, you got to miss out on another player because we have to pay this money, or you missed out on Antony altogether, who, yeah, you identified 2 months ago, and that's on us. We took our time. Ten Hag, there's nothing you can do there. This isn't FIFA. This isn't a video game where you play manager mode and you decide everything. That's not how it works as a manager. Ten Hag has had to do a lot more than he really should have had to do. And yes, his talent identification has not been great. But you got to remember, in the modern game, that's not what managers are supposed to be doing. He had to do that. And this is the thing about all these stories where like Ineos are taking away the power he has. That's yes and no. It's not that he was here and we're putting him down to here. Is that his power and that was way up here, which is a lot higher than what it needs to be. But you got to remember, he came in and we had guys like Woodward and like Richard Arnold and John Murtaugh making the decisions, and it was garbage. Over the last decade, it's been garbage. And so you come into that and he's like, you guys are incompetent. I have to do more. And now that we're actually getting a structure in place, what we're doing, we're not like punishing Ten Hag. We're not removing his power. We're not like clipping his wings. We are returning United's scouting and our recruitment structure to a normal level for a club in the modern game. We're getting like we're putting it at the same level as like Pep has or Klopp had. Pep and Klopp don't just have a dictatorship over the signings and stuff. They don't have all that control. They're not really that involved. And there is a system of checks and balances. Remember that Klopp didn't even want Mo Salah. He wanted Julian Brandt for the wing. And we don't have that at United. We don't have someone to come in and challenge the manager. We don't have that kind of system in place. So we're trying to put that system in place. And the side effect of that is, yes, Ten Hag, the talent identification and the power and the scouting power that Ten Hag had will be kind of stripped down back to what it needs to be. All right. So let's keep that in perspective here. But in any case, back to Branthwaite, again, we are prepared to walk away if a deal can't be struck. Like I said, we do have Todibo on the list. Yoro's on the list. There's talk of Mark Guéhi, who is on England duty right now, on the list. I like Mark Guéhi a lot, actually. I think he's a good player, good age, Premier League experience, English. I know that we're trying to really get some England players in, which is why we're looking at Branthwaite. On the center back, though, we also potentially have a new name added to that list. So this is coming from Fabrice Hawkins with French outlet RMC Sports. So he is reporting that United are monitoring Red Bull Salzburg center back Omar Sole, who is now entering the final year of his contract at Salzburg. He's 23-year-old. He's French. I know French center back at Red Bull Group. No, never. Really? Yeah, it's true. Sole reads the game very well. He's a physical presence, good in the air. He positions himself very well to break up play, make a lot of interceptions. And he's good with the ball. He was actually 5th in the league for accurate long balls per 90 last season. So seems like a Ten Hag type defender, fast, physical, good on the ball, reads the game well. Could be a good foil for Licha. But new name added to the list, not too expensive, and entering the final year of his contract, similar to like Youssouf Fofana at Monaco, the defensive midfielder, entering the final year of his contract. A deal could be struck there. We could see some shrewd deals like that, some smart signings like that done. Cheap players entering the last year of the contract. Players are for free. We already missed out on Tosin Adarabioyo, who went to Chelsea. Lloyd Kelly, I think, went to Newcastle. So that's kind of a bummer, but you could get you can get both Fofana and Sole probably for a combined like 35, maybe 40 mil tops. That's two good players, two younger players. Fofana is 24, 25. Sole is 23. And you could really have some good players. It improves our squad instantly. So it could be interesting to see if that has some validity to it. The new center back put on the list. But I think that in any case, we have a good list of backups in case the Branthwaite deal doesn't go well. I think Todibo will be better than Branthwaite. I think Yoro will be better than Branthwaite. But clearly, Ineos and Ten Hag like Branthwaite. We'll see what happens, but I don't want us to blow a lot of our budget on one player. When we're skint, we have a lot of priorities, and there's not a whole lot of money we can get. I know that Mason Greenwood could be leaving. That's a good chunk of profit. Sancho could be leaving. It's not necessarily profit, but getting Sancho's wages off the books could be a big help. We've already got Martial and Varane's wages off the book. Getting Casemiro's wages off the books could be a big help. So we'll see what happens, but we need to sell some players and we need to sign some better players. So speaking of signing some players, so this is coming from French outlet L'Equipe. They are reporting that United are interested in PSG's Xavi Simons. Now, those of you who watch a lot of football, those of you who maybe play a lot of video games, Xavi Simons won't be a new name for you. I love Xavi Simons. I have loved this little guy for several years now. When he was on loan at PSV, when he was on loan last year at Leipzig, thought he was so good at PSV. It does sound like PSG want to keep him though, and they're only willing to let him go on loan again. So that'll be 3 loans in a row now for Xavi Simons. If I were him, I'd be like, listen, I'd be talking to PSG. I would say, what is your guys' plan? Am I in your picture or am I not? Because I'm tired of these loans. I want to go play football. I want to know where I'm going to be. Let's make a decision here. I think the issue is that PSV also have a sell-on clause, and I think that PSG wants some money. Because remember, he actually did sign for PSV. Did I say loan? Yeah. No, he signed for PSV. And then PSG had a buyback clause. So he was actually a PSV player, and then PSG decided to bring him back after he had such an outstanding season, and they put him back on loan. Super weird. I like Xavi Simons. I think he could be an ideal Bruno Fernandes replacement. I think he's better than Mason Mount. He has been kind of played anywhere along that front, kind of in the number 10, kind of in the wide position. I think he played wide for the Netherlands recently as well. He's a good player. He's not as good as Florian Wirtz. He's different than Jamal Musiala. He doesn't play the same way, but I think he's very good. He reminds me a lot of Bruno. So could be interesting. I know that we've been interested in him in the past, so it sounds like that even Ineos have come in and said, no, he's a good player. Let's take a look at him. So is it a position that we need this summer? What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on Xavi Simons? Would you prioritize him? We're already looking at João Neves, Michael Olise potentially. When we have players, other positions that we do we need to look at a number 10 right now? Mason Mount can play as a number 10. So is it a priority position? Or is it one of those instances where if this player is available and he's a player on your list, kind of like Ronaldo, where like you just get him and try to make it happen so that you don't miss out? I don't know. It's not my money. I'm not Ineos. I'm not Ten Hag. So, if money were, endless, yeah, get him, strengthen the squad. But it's just, that's not the way it works. So United have also had a cheeky bid for a striker reportedly rejected recently. Not Benjamin Sesko, not Ivan Toney, not Joshua Zirkzee. No, this is coming from a report in Spain that says United made a bid of around £29 million for Barcelona striker Vitor Roque. Is it Roque or is it Roque? I want to say Roque. So if the reports are to be believed, Barcelona sporting director Deco has told United if they want Vitor Roque, they will have to pay the $50 million that Barcelona paid to bring him to the Camp Nou. Sounds like we're looking at some young strikers here. I know he's kind of struggled for some minutes. Vitor Roque. It's weird that the reports. It's hard to know who to believe this summer. Ornstein just came out last week as far as like Ten Hag's future is concerned. He's like, I'm done guessing at this point. And that's pretty much what a lot of these journals do. It's just guesswork, it's speculation, it's rumors. It is what it is. I think a lot of it is what if journalism, like, oh, what if this were happening, kind of a thing. But we've seen reports that say we're looking for an experienced striker. We've seen reports that we're looking for like a Premier League striker, and then we've got this rumor that we put in a bid and had it rejected for Vitor Roque, a young striker, not from the Premier League. So it's all over the place, and it's not new for United, especially in the summer window. But we'll see what happens there. I don't think we can afford to have another young striker that we have to then develop, and I think that's too much. I think we'll get someone a little older and go from there. One player whose United future is still kind of up in the air is Sofian Amrabat. So Gianluca Di Marzio has reported that Galatasaray are actually interested in Amrabat, but also that a permanent move to United has not yet been ruled out. What are your thoughts on Sofian Amrabat? That's kind of what I wanted to focus on here for a second, because he's kind of like an enigma. I don't think we've seen the full Amrabat that we thought we were signing. I don't think we've seen the full Amrabat that we actually have, the player, because he hasn't gotten enough games. He hasn't gotten enough run of games. We saw glimpses of this in the last month or so, a few months of the season, when he was getting regular game time, and he looked decent. He looked really good. He's had a couple shaky moments. That's going to happen. The Premier League, it is high pace and a lot of pressing, a lot of relentless opposition play. But I did feel bad for him to start this season. So he came in, he was injured, and then he was forced to play left back at the start of the season, which didn't really look great for him. But then again, that's not his fault. He's not a left back. We just had no left backs. And he was solid against Palace in his debut in the Carabao Cup. He was solid towards the end of the season, like I said, and I think that if we lost both Eriksen and Casemiro, even if we bought like a João Neves, I think we still need one more midfielder for depth, because that leaves us again with Manu, Mount, and McTominay as midfield options. If you don't sign anybody, we need players. Amrabat's been here for a season. He's not old. I think, we're looking at a lot of younger players. I think we do need some experienced players in the squad, in and around the team, though. Marcus Rashford's 26. Bruno's going to be 30. Wan-Bissaka is like 26. Onana is 28, 29 now. I think we do need some experienced players in and around the squad as well. I think Amrabat could be a good squad option. We paid $8 million to sign him on loan. I think to make it permanent, it's another $20 million. I don't think that's a bad option. If you make that move permanent and you bring in another midfielder like a João Neves, like a Yusuf Fofana, I think that is good enough for now for squad depth for midfield. Because then you also still have Collier, who can come in some of these cup games and whatnot and get some minutes and see how he looks as well. But what are your guys' thoughts on Amrabat? Do you like what you see? Would you give him a chance? Would you just try to get two midfielders? Because I do think we need two if both Casemiro and Eriksen leave. I think both Casemiro and Eriksen need to leave, so we do need two midfielders to come in and replace them. So, and this is the problem with selling players. You have to replace them because we don't have enough depth to say we've got like these fringe players. We sell Eriksen and Casemiro, we have to replace them. We don't have a choice because you're left with three midfielders at that point. That's not good enough. So let me know your thoughts on Amrabat. Would you keep him? Would you let him go? Would you bring two midfielders? Who would your two midfielders be? Who is your Casemiro replacement? Like, there's a lot of questions, not a whole lot of answers yet, but that's going to be it on the news. I did have one last comment. So I'm watching the Euros, bro. We got commercials. We got David Beckham out here doing commercials for AliExpress. What is this world coming to when David Beckham is out here doing AliExpress commercials? That is so strange to me. Did you guys see those commercials during the Euros? It almost makes me sad. It was bad enough that we had him out here doing Burger King commercials a while back. I don't have the problem with the H&M stuff because he had clothing at H&M. It is what it is. But AliExpress, I mean, how much did it cost to get him to do that for AliExpress? I mean, he doesn't need the money, but still, to get David Beckham to come do that. I mean, are you doing that for free, Bex? Because if so, you can come hang out with me for an hour and do a video. And, if you're going to be doing some charity promotional work like that. But that's so weird. In any case, the Euros is kicking off. We saw some interesting results yesterday. If you guys are watching it, I didn't watch all the matches yesterday. I think it was Romania played yesterday against the Ukraine. I can't name one Romanian player. I can name a few Ukrainian players, but the Belgium result was interesting. So they lost 1-0 to Slovakia. And I remember I tweeted during the match in the first half because I don't understand how Belgium are consistently ranked so highly in FIFA's world rankings, because whenever I've seen them play, they've just not looked good. They had that supposed golden generation, what, 4, 5, 6 years ago, with like Hazard, De Bruyne, Lukaku. Company was in there at that time. Like, I just, they've never done well, and they don't look good. And maybe Tedesco is not the right manager. I don't know, because Roberto Martinez couldn't really get them over the line with that players. The same way Gareth Southgate can't get England over the line. This is probably one of the best England generations I've ever seen. I think Bellingham is the best player in the world at the moment, but they didn't look great either, did they? When they played Serbia, I mean, they only managed 1-0 against Serbia. So interesting. Austria held their own, I think, against France. They were unfortunate, I think, to lose 1-0, but I do think Austria looked good. I think Austria kind of slowed down. How good did Rabiot look, by the way? You know, Rabiot, is he still available on a free this summer? He's looked really good. I think he could be a really good pickup for us in midfield. I know I've mentioned him before. I know people will point out like attitude issues, his agent, I think his mom issues, but I think Rabiot could be kind of the ideal midfield signing for United. I think that he walks into a lot of starting 11s in this league. I think he instantly improves our side. I think that he could be a really good, shrewd pickup this summer. And you could still get someone like a João Neves or something as well, and actually pay money. But that's a really good deal. I think the issue with Rabiot will probably be his wages, but I think he's a good player. And he looked really good against Austria yesterday. He was all over the place. He was tracking back. He's a really good box-to-box midfielder. I know when he started, he was more of a defensive midfielder when he was at PSG, and now I think he's kind of a box-to-box. He's covering like every blade of grass yesterday. I remember one particular play, he tracked all the way back from in his own box to come and win the ball back. Like, he's really, really, really good. So let me know your thoughts on Rabiot. Let me know your thoughts. Who do we at today in the Euros? Let me see. I know I should probably do this before I go live, right? Not so good. Only 2 matches today. So we've got Turkey and Georgia and Portugal and Czech. So I know my buddy will be watching the Portugal match. I know people might be watching that Georgia game to see Kvaradona and see what he's going to be doing. Turkey have a couple of decent little players in there as well. I know they have that Yilmaz guy that we were linked with. They have a young left back that I was looking at a while back too, Yilmaz. He plays for Rangers. He's actually pretty decent little left back, very fast. Interesting. And then obviously Portugal later. I think a lot of people are probably holding out for that Portugal match later on the day. But let me know your thoughts. Let me know your thoughts on the Euros so far. Maybe that France. How did France look? I don't think it's going to be France's year. I think honestly it's going to be, if I had to pick right now. So obviously Netherlands are always like my team. But I do think that Spain have probably looked the most convincing so far in this tournament. I think that Morata is severely underrated as a striker. I think Spain have a lot of depth. I actually predicted Spain to win the World Cup in 2018. They were my predicted winners. And then they went and sacked their manager like a day before the tournament started. So that kind of killed it. But I do think Spain would look good. I think Germany looked pretty good. I think right now I would lean more towards Spain than Germany, but I think it could be either team. So let me know your thoughts. It's going to do it for me today. Hope you guys are enjoying the weather. It's like going to be in the upper 90s for me today, and not in the good like free kick. You put it on a postage stamp, upper 90. I mean like 95, 96, 98 degrees where I'm at all week. So that's going to be gross. But wherever you guys are watching, stay safe, enjoy it, and hopefully stay cool. And I will see you guys on the next one. And don't forget to like the video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Adam Peters. Get in touch with me to get your shirt, man. It's going to hit me up at unitedstatesofunited@gmail.com. Give me your deets, and I will shoot this off to you. Because if I don't hear from you in another week or so, I will be kind of redoing that giveaway. And so for those of you watching, if you want to get involved in that giveaway or any future giveaways, because I do have some other stuff going on here, got to be subscribed, involved. Let me know what you guys are thinking. And then I will randomly select those winners from these subscribers and those who are getting involved. So let me know your thoughts, and I will see you guys on the next one. Later.